One. Hello, good afternoon. This is Parker Ellenberg here. We are currently on episode, correct me, what is it?
18.
18?
18.
Okay, episode 18 of the Weather Podcast. Today we have the one, the only, the awesome Mike on the podcast today. So get a round of applause for him, everyone. There we go. Woo! It's had a pretty good year so far, if I remember. A pretty good storm year and chasing. So just for the beginning of the podcast, we'll kind of just let you take it. We'll let you kind of explain how you got into weather, what you've been doing and how you do things, and kind of just explanation of yourself. So the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Mike Scantlin. I've been chasing since about 2003. Seen a lot of tornadoes and hurricanes and hail, all that good stuff. I think we all kind of get into it the same way where, we're probably between 4 and 10 years old, and then you have something spark that interest in you, and you see something weird, see something crazy, and then it kind of flips a switch, and then you just turn into a weird kid that just stares at the sky all the time and doesn't really care about anything else. And I think we're all the same, even if we have different paths. It all kind of starts the same way. And my story is exactly the same. My cousin would babysit me, and he was kind of a bully. And I was like 7, and I was terrified of storms. And he just had it. He had it with me being a crybaby every time it stormed. So he just locked me outside on the porch. He had a nice porch. I wasn't like out in the elements, but I did get to see some cool stuff, and it worked. And now I actually got him run over by a tornado last year in Osage County, and I got my payback. But he probably won't ever chase with me again, and that's okay. It's a rite of passage.
That's pretty straight and to the point. So I actually know that is kind of everyone's somewhat way how we all kind of eventually get into weather. So my first question, I guess, is right off the bat, what do you prefer more, severe weather or tropical cyclones, or I don't know, snow, whatever? I don't know what you prefer.
Not snow. I mean, I always think that I love snow, and then it snows, and then it's cold, and after a couple hours, I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Bring back the spinning wind. I definitely prefer tornado chasing or hail, severe storms. Let's go with springtime, super storms.
Yeah, severe storms, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I dig that, all right.
Hurricanes just last too long, man. Like, I've spent way too much time in hotels without power, in like 100% humidity, just soaking wet, can't get dry, can't take a shower. There's not enough gold bond in the world to make you feel normal again. It always seems fun until you're there, and then I guess it's worth it. The payoff, getting into a good eye wall is worth the suffering for a couple days. But I prefer tornadoes. I like going home after the chase and decompressing instead of just living in this weird post-apocalyptic state for a few days.
That is true. That is a good point. Yeah. Well, I guess the next question that I have for now is, out of all the years of chasing, which one was either your best or your favorite in terms of not just tornadoes, but photogenic structure, maybe hail as well? Just kind of all things combined, what year was probably your favorite?
That is tough. It's got to be a tie between 2013 and 2016, just from the experience. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to be I don't want to spend the rest of my life looking back on chasing with Reed and the Dominator as being like, the highlight of my life. But it was just a great tornado year. It was a great year to be shooting a show and chasing with guys who want to get 7 feet from a tornado and share your same energy and passion. Because I love time lapses and photography and all that stuff. I did that a lot at an earlier age. But if I see a tornado, I'm going to point at it and scream obvious things like, oh my God, look, a tornado, and there's no stopping it. I can't be calm in the presence of a tornado. It's just impossible. And so you got a whole team full of idiots like that, and that's match your energy and match your passion for yelling at tornadoes, and that's probably going to be one of my favorite seasons forever. 2016 was another great year, even though we missed Ray and Wynnewood. Oh, that hurts. I can't even say the name without hurting. But That year I was with Connor McCrory and Tom Smetana, the Canadian Blue Moose guy. And we saw a lot of good tornadoes. We chased a lot in 2016. And, even though we missed those 2 very important days of the season, we still had a pretty decent year. And, I feel like it'll be hard to top Dodge City and, Chapman the next day. Just, two of my favorite tornado events, just separated by a few hours. It's hard to think that could ever happen again. But it always does.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that before. So last time I said that, it only took 3 years. So, everything's the best thing ever until there's another best thing ever. So,
yeah, that is true. That's the way I thought from 2017. Then 2019 came along, and now we had a fun year. But so,
yes, sir.
But yeah, I don't know if Justin or anyone else has a question, but you guys can go ahead if you want to.
I was going to ask, how did you get into, what spurred you into getting into this, but you answered that in the beginning. So, I guess I'll be basic. What advice do you have for people getting into this hobby or career?
That's gonna be a long answer. I don't know. I'm pretty intense, so people ask questions like that. I just like run in random directions, and I'm gonna rant a little bit on this one. But like one thing that I have to I see it a lot with the younger chasers where they want to like focus on things they don't really understand, like research. Like I just came across some screenshots from a thread from like 15 years ago where a guy had been chasing for like 12 seconds and he wanted to build a tornado tank, and you know how that is. Everyone wants to be Mr. Tornado researcher, or like the guys with the flying like remote control planes who had never even seen a tornado, who did a Kickstarter for like $15,000 and wanted to do research. Just learn how to chase before picking like research projects and all stuff like that. Just enjoy the sky. Like there's nothing wrong with just going and chasing and just enjoying the sky, enjoying the pursuit, the man versus nature type of deal. And just don't try to make it a career, because it usually is not. And people starting tour companies and wanting to do all this stuff that's just so unnecessary. Just enjoy the sky. Don't overcomplicate things, because once you get past a certain point, and every chase I try to bring this back, once you get past a certain point where you're trying to do too much while you're chasing, you lose that experience. You lose that feeling of being 7 years old, half asleep, and then you hear thunder and you didn't even know it was supposed to storm. You know that feeling? Remember the just that awe, being completely looking up at the sky and having no idea what's happening, but you just love it. You just know that you're going to do this for the rest of your life. Try to keep that feeling in your chasing, because once you overcomplicate it, it's hard to get back to it. You get these unrealistic expectations, and you get a little jaded, and you see, you can see 4 or 5 supercells that look incredible, and you just had a great chase day, but you didn't see any tornadoes, so it's not a good chase day, and you poo-poo about it. But it's still amazing. The sky is incredible no matter what it's doing. If you don't see like straight line winds, like shelf clouds, there are some like chaser snobs, man. People who don't enjoy a good squall line. And like I still like flying over any type of cloud. I'm still the guy that's like at the window and pictures out the window. Everyone's half asleep and the windows are closed, and they're just like, man, there's some weird guy up here, this little fat weird looking guy who's yelling, wow, look at this cloud. Yeah, once you lose that, it's hard to get it back, and it's taken a while to get back to that mindset and just appreciate what the sky does. Don't get wrapped up in these weird expectations and trying to do too much. Don't overcomplicate it. See, I told you I was going to rant for a while, but the main message is do not overcomplicate storm chasing, because it's hard to get back.
That's a good rant.
Because I was like, because I'm that one. I'm still in that kid that like if we're like any interesting cloud I look at, I will go and I'll take a picture of that cloud just so I can like, oh, hey, look at that, I got this. That's how I am. I don't know why. I find certain things interesting in the sky, and I'm like randomly in a car, I'm like on the way to morning to school or something, I'll see a cool like way of cumulus cloud, so I'll take a picture of it. I don't know why, it's how I am. But it's like people were giving me crap because I was thinking about chasing maybe like Michigan tomorrow, like I think just around the Traverse City area. I'm like, well, you're not gonna get any tornadoes. Like I wasn't expect like if I get one, that'd be nice. But I'm just
Hey,
like
you
I
never
want
know.
a good.
The
Yeah,
warm
exactly.
water over the oceans, they do weird stuff this time of year. It's water spout season up there. But
That is true. Yeah, but I mean, like granted, I mean, if I get one, that'd be nice. But I'm I wasn't really going. I just wanted a good shelf cloud because I haven't had a good shelf cloud that this year. So I just wanted
people
and I'm
are
actually
always
shooting
going to
like a
talk
little
smack.
exactly. But
Right.
I just and so if I get one, I get one. So but
Do what you want to
I
do.
just
Yeah.
exactly. I like chasing really anything. I'm not like it's like I'll chase for 20 like like any kind of thing I like. So I won't complain.
Yeah. Well,
As long
that's
as I
how it
get
is.
something.
Don't lose that. Another thing, I guess it kind of
Exactly.
isn't along the same vein as there are a lot of people who are like just getting into chasing that kind of see it as like a social circle, and they want to go out and chase, but they want to stop and talk to everyone and like I stay away from that just because it's easy to get distracted. I've missed some pretty decent storms. Well, we missed more because we weren't paying attention. This is more 2013, obviously. There have been like 15 of those, but more 2013. we had seen a bunch of tornadoes the day before morning. We started setting up the vehicles and the time like that, and we decided to let's go south. Yeah, that'll be a great idea. And then, we didn't even get to the south storm on time, and then by the time we got back to the city, the tornado was over, and it was one of those events that I don't really think I would have enjoyed seeing it because of tornadoes that do stuff like that. Like I have no interest in seeing that stuff. High risk days, I hate them. I hate chasing them. I hate what they do, and that was just one of those days where letting the social aspect of chasing kind of distract you from why you're really out there. So and I'm not saying don't have friends and don't meet up with people you're getting gas and it's cool to enjoy all that stuff, but I've lost sight of the forecast and then missed some stuff because of that aspect of it. And I'm kind of a grumpy old man now, so I don't really like most storm chasers, but I've got beef with a lot of people that like to hang out together, so that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. In the aspect of not stopping to talk with people, when I stopped to talk with someone for the first time, well, not for the first time, but for like the third time in the Texas Panhandle, March 13th, they told me don't go after the first storm that fires, and they made me miss happy. So I'm not.
The decoy storm. It's only a decoy storm until it does that. But
exactly.
The southern storm's got better access to moisture, so you should always pick that one. And then the north storm always seems to tornado it's just the sky does what the sky does. We don't know anything. We think we know a lot of stuff, but you're always going to be surprised. It's always going to surprise you. That happy storm still hurts.
Yeah. The one thing that pissed me off, though, it wasn't a social circle or whatever, but it was on Discord, actually. I was in a call, and one of my friends told me, go to Benjamin, don't go to Vernon, and they made me miss Vernon.
Oh, yeah. So, outside influences. That was the whole point. That's what I was trying to get to with the social circle thing. Is outside influences on your storm chasing. Go where you want. Don't let people tell you what to do, or don't chase this and that.
Exactly.
Just do what you want to do. You're not going to get some of those days back. Just follow your heart. Enjoy the sky. Do what you want. Fuck everybody else. He said piss. Are we allowed to say curse words?
I mean that's great as a matter. It's all good. You're fine.
Really.
Stop. He said piss. Everyone stop.
Oh dear.
I like curse words.
This is great. Yeah. So I guess the next question for me is that what what is your all favorite tornado? I was hard for you, just multiple.
I have a number that I tell people when they say, "How many tornadoes you seen, or what's your favorite?" Because it's hard not to. But man,
Yeah.
Chapman is going to be hard to beat just because it was on the ground for so long, and it had so
Mhm.
many different. It did a lot of really cool stuff that you rarely see tornadoes do, and it did a whole myriad of incredible things. Like it shrunk down to being like a really skinny little tall stovepipe with like crazy rippling along the edges that always reminded me of
Mhm.
Tim Marshall's May 3rd '99 video. As it
Mhm.
was going through Newcastle. He was on the dark side of it. We were kind of on the bright side of it, but we could still see the rippling and just like this really intense, huge tornado. But at the base, it was really skinny and just had this incredible motion. And then,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it did shred a house like a half mile east of us. It had already passed, and we had stopped, and there were power lines down. We couldn't keep chasing it, and just east of us, it hit
Mhm.
a house, and like just the sound of a tornado shredding a house. I'd never heard it that close. And I mean, it just sounded like a bunch of like you were holding like popsicle sticks, and you just snap them all at once, except in a huge scale.
Ooh.
Except it's an entire farmhouse just
Mhm.
getting shredded, and I mean the whole house is gone in just a matter of seconds. It's crazy to hear that and experience that, but to see a tornado do all these things in 90 minutes and then just barely minor injuries. It's incredible to see a tornado do that stuff and have no one hurt or killed by it. So
Mhm.
those are good reasons for it to be a favorite. But I think honorable mention to Young County on May 17th, 2013. The
Mhm.
little helical vortex
Yep.
that was on Tornado Chasers, and man, the sound that 10-foot wide suction vortex made was louder than the Chapman tornado, even as it was shredding a house.
Mhm.
It was insane. And I think we all saw was it Wisconsin or South Dakota? It was along the border there somewhere a couple weeks ago of the alleged sonic
Oh.
boom helical vortex.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
That,
It,
that
it
one.
was
That
that
was.
loud, except
mhm.
it was sustained. It
Mhm.
was sustained, and it would go on for a few seconds at a
Yeah.
time. Then the vortex would break apart, and then it would come back and do the little snaky thing. And it sounded just like that video, but it was more sustained. It wasn't a pop. It was like a
Mhm.
roar, and it was the
Mhm.
craziest thing I'd ever heard. And it's still, it's almost as good as Chapman, but Chapman did so many cool things instead of just one cool thing.
Yeah.
But
I remember.
really weird.
Mhm. I remember seeing that like just all the different angles of Chapman, not live, but like go back there just watching different angles. Chapman was pretty. It
It
was
was a pretty tornado, yeah.
I bet that was a very amazing tornado. I'll be honest. I mean, all of the ways it was shape shifted. Oh, it's beautiful.
It
I
was,
miss
and
2016.
me too. If I could live one year over and over again, it would be that one. But um,
Yep.
what's the Young County tornado? That storm after
Mhm.
that first tornado, there was another cycle, and it was a really high based storm. It really, it didn't look great, but it was along a boundary. So, and it was, really high cape event. And when you have a vorticity source, even if it's that high base, I mean, it was way too high based. It had no, it shouldn't have produced the tornadoes that it did because it had no, it's just, there's no way a storm that high base could produce a tornado like that. But
Yeah.
after the first tornado, there was a shot where we were all standing along the fence line, just kind of watching the storm. And then you hear a suction vortex come through the trees, and it's only there for a few seconds. And then it's over. And we're all just
Mhm.
kind of like, holy shit, I think that was a tornado. I mean, it's gone now, but it was. We could never tell what part of the base it was actually coming from because it was so high based and it was not like a focus.
Yeah.
There was no occlusion, there was no
Mhm.
wall cloud. It was just like, it's really scary that
Storm.
a vorticity under a storm, like with no focused area of rotation, can produce a tornado that sounded like that. And it was gone. It was just 5 seconds of roar through the trees, and then it was over. And that's terrifying because we're driving around under that stuff all the time. And
Mhm.
those
Yeah.
little short-lived suction vortices, that's terrifying. But it was really cool. It did some cool stuff. But
Mhm.
Chapman takes the cake for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I guess I'm not out of questions, but if someone else wants to go ahead, ask away, or yeah.
What is the most interesting storm that you have chased?
Ooh, I've got a lot of those. I think I really like storms that have no place producing a tornado. Like the Young County storm was obviously a supercell, but it was really high based, and it was it was along an outflow boundary. So I guess it's not really that weird. But like cold core or pseudo cold core events where you have like a really shallow updraft over a vorticity source, and it's like super low cape, and but like these weird tornadoes that shouldn't exist, like the fringe gray area type of tornado events, I really like those. Like earlier this year, I don't remember the day, but I chased for a local news station here just to pad the wallet, and it was May. This storm had no chance of doing anything, but we've got the newscast is keep chasing it for the 6 o'clock newscast. So just keep following it. And I followed it. And this was up by like Veneta, Oklahoma. Nobody's ever heard of any of these towns. This was like a storm coming up on Delaware, Oklahoma, this tiny little, 1 square mile town. And the storm has let go of the surface and it's now drifting northwest. It's no longer surface based, but they need pretty pictures for the news. And we need to say, hey, we got somebody out here chasing, right? So about 5 minutes before the main weather hit. So at about 6:15 is the main weather hit in the 6 o'clock newscast. And at about 6:10, he sends me a text that says, hey, rotation detector is showing a little bit of spin on this storm. And I was like, I can kind of see what you're talking about. Like the backside of the updraft had just barely carved out like a little miniature, like cinnamon bun occlusion, just this little rounded edge on the back of the updraft. And this was anyone would look at this updraft and go, this is garbage. I'm going home. And, we stuck with it long enough for it to kind of carve out a little bit of an occlusion. And that word is a stretch to call this an occlusion. It's a stretch. Get it? A stretch.
Oh,
We're behind it. And like, we get under it and this thing's really spinning. We're looking straight up at this little cinnamon bun. And right as soon as we get to main weather, he's like, hey, Mike, what are you seeing out there? And I'm just like, I wouldn't believe it if anyone else was saying it, if I wasn't parked under this thing looking straight up at it. But this thing's spinning like a top. Like this it's not even a storm. There's no precip left. The updraft's dying, but it's trying to tornado. I swear to God, I'm looking straight up into an occlusion. And about, as soon as I say that, we get this little, I wouldn't even call it a suction vortex. It was just like, if this thing was over like a dirt field, it might have looked like a land spout, but it was, in the middle of northeast Oklahoma. There's leaves and branches and like a dumpster goes flying by. It ran right over us. And I was just like, this thing's producing a tornado. This thing isn't even a storm. I wouldn't even call it an updraft. It's just like, and this thing is going to produce a tornado. Those stupid little tornadoes like that are so fun because you just don't expect them. I was just like, let's keep following this thing. And, if I like posting, I've seen a few tornadoes like that, and I love posting on Facebook. If I told you I saw a tornado today, would you believe me? And of course, everyone's like, hell no, you're an idiot. What the hell are you talking about? But, the gray area tornadoes I enjoy the most because, nobody believes you. Nobody believes you. We had a cold core event like that. Me and an ex-girlfriend got run over by a tornado in Kansas in December 12th, 2015, 2014? I don't know. But just a stupid little cold core storm that had no place producing a tornado. It really should not have done that. And then, it ran right over us and snapped a mailbox and took some shingles off the house that was right there. And it was just like, holy shit, did that really just happen?
Wow, yeah.
Of course, I double tapped record on the GoPro and whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can prove it or not. I know it was a tornado, and there's just no way that storm could do that, but they do. The sky does a lot of weird stuff, man. Fluke tornadoes happen all the time. There's just no one there to see them.
Right.
So it's just that's my favorite part of storm chasing is the fluke mesoscale accidents. Reed calls them.
Yeah.
But they're no accident, man. The sky does what the sky does.
Yeah.
It's actually been
true.
Yeah. For sure.
Pictures or it didn't happen. That should be my nickname. Oh, Scantlin thinks he saw a tornado today. Look at this. Stat pattern. He's stat pattern.
Oh my God.
Russell Westbrook over here.
Damn it. Oh, that was funny. Russell Westbrook over here. That was great.
Gosh.
All right. Oh, well, I'm not a questions, but that was actually interesting. Because I remember someone telling me that there was a tornado that day. And I was like, oh, there was it, but then I think I don't remember. I didn't originally hear it. From, I don't know. It made me not. Maybe I think about that. I think
It happens. It
I think
happens
of
a
a
lot.
different day. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
happens
think.
way more than
Yeah.
it should.
It may have been. Yeah. I think of a different day. But anyways, yeah. It was,
There was a day in December of 2015 that Dick McGowan and Connor McRoy were chasing this little. It was kind of like a cold core event, but it wasn't like a true cold core event. But there was enough vorticity and just enough 0 to 3 kilometer cape that back before everyone knew about the cheat code on mesoanalysis, the 0 to 3 vorticity and cape. This was when no one.
Yeah.
And so they reported this on Spotter Network that there was this funnel cloud, and then it ended up fully condensing. And they report this was in Texas Panhandle, so they get a tweet back from NWS Amarillo, and they're just like, "There's not a storm there." And yeah, there's not a storm here, but there's still. I mean, it's an updraft. There's no preset, but I'm like, here's a picture of a tornado I'm seeing, and they're like, "No, you got to be over here. You're in the wrong place. You don't know what you're talking about." And it's just, these weird little fluke tornadoes that come out of little updrafts that don't even have rain in them. They happen all the time. They happen all the time, but it's funny when the National Weather NWS is like, no, that's not a thing. Nope.
No.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's silly.
That's
silly.
NWS Memphis moment.
Yes. Norman had a good one today. Just why?
Yeah, that is true. I remember
that. I saw that. Why? Just replying to my friend Jordan with why.
Why?
Oh my
gosh. So funny.
I remember, yeah.
I love it.
But I'm trying to think. I've had a few of those. Well, I really only kind of days this year. Well, okay. So tornadoes were possible, but it was like almost non-zero. And Luke knows what I'm talking about. I won't go in depth about it, but I think 2 EF1s in Indiana, that 2 little spoots, but yeah. But I have a few collection of that kid, but just like little bird fart tornadoes. They're like, oh, that's not a tornado. So
yeah, hey man, bird farts are tornadoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Dallas or Luke have any questions, but anyone else. But
what is the widest tornado that you've seen?
Widest, like color, white or wide?
Wide. My mic is quiet. Sorry.
Little racially insensitive here. Jeez. Widest. Greensburg. Greensburg was 1.7, and that was one of my first real tornadoes. I had seen a couple of bird farts and little wispy doodads before that, but man, that was a whopper.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that was.
Well, you know what? The one after that was even wider. Maxburg, which was, I think it was 2. 1.9 or 2. So yeah, those 2 were probably the widest. I missed El Reno because of reasons, logistical reasons, and stuff that didn't even have to do with storm chasing. Like, we got to get Dominator 3 Line X like in the middle of May. Are you guys?
Yeah.
So I had to go up to Kansas City to do that because none of these guys can turn a wrench and take one for the team. I always got bottom of the totem pole since Scantlin out there. He doesn't need to chase. So missed El Reno. What was the other really wide one? I know I'm missing one that I should have been there and I wasn't. I don't remember. Maxville, Greensburg. 2 widest probably. 1.7, 1.9, something like that.
Yeah.
Maxville or Maxburg?
That's a whopper of a tornado. Yeah, that's a decent tornado. That'll do the trick. Yeah.
Maxburg. Okay.
Maxville and Greensburg. I don't know. It's Maxville and Greensburg. Those are not Maxburg. I don't know what I'm doing over here.
Oh, okay. That was the one after Greensburg, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the Greensburg tornado occluded and did a little curlicue around town, and then the new one had already planted. We were south of town, stuck in the mud. We thought they were the same tornado for a couple days until the tracks were released by the National Weather Service. But
yeah, I see the picture on. I search up Maxville tornado, and I see your picture as one of the first results.
It's a huge wedge. Jeez.
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
That night was just wedge galore. I remember that
Yeah,
night. It was
that
just, I
storm.
wasn't alive for it, but just in general, that was wedge galore.
That storm was just the way that they would occlude to the left real quick and then hand off real quick. It was like they have these really long tracks. Usually when you have a cyclic supercell like that, they'll hand off a little quicker than that. But man, that environment was just, you don't see things like that very often.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. I've done I whenever I have time, like in the middle of summer, like I'll sit down for a few hours a day, I'll go I won't go over events, but I'll do like mesoscale overviews of the environment, and I'll kind of like jot down stuff, and I'll write notes just for different, I did how different storms and like different soundings and interpret the data in general. And I did that one for Greensburg Day and I think a few others, and it's just interesting how storms can just like do their own thing. Like it's hard to comprehend and like get storms that like can just produce wedge after wedge for like an hour. It's mind blowing sometimes.
Well, it's a pretty good example of like a really primed environment that's got enough of a cap that most people would go, I'm not going to chase that day because the cap's really strong. But like, the atmosphere is a fluid, so things are not set in stone. Any ripple caused by any reason. So that storm to the south produced that amazing tornado down by Arnett, and the left split from that storm. All it took was a little left split orphan anvil to get that storm going.
Exactly.
And we were actually, we sat in Coldwater in Greensburg all day and was like, man, we should have gone south. This is, back before mobile data. We didn't know what was happening to the south.
Yeah.
We see the anvil of that storm, and I was like, well, we messed up going to Kansas. We should have gone to Woodward, but we had turned around and we're headed back east. We were going home whenever the Greensburg storm, exploded. That left split just went. Here's just enough forcing to get an updraft going, and then by the time we got back to it, it had a tornado on the ground. It was that quick. So,
left split go burr.
Yeah, exactly. And the rest is history.
Yeah,
crazy environment though.
For sure.
Super outbreak parameters, but less forcing, less Dixie.
Yep, for sure. That was. I wish I was alive for so many, but okay, I was alive for that Greensburg, but I was a little toddler. So, but yeah,
there will be more. Those events aren't as
sure.
rare as we thought. So
yeah,
the world warming up, so that's going to be like an everyday thing here soon.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, yeah.
We don't know what's normal though. We haven't been keeping records long enough to understand how normal things really are.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Don't know
Very good point. True.
Well, we'll see. The 100-year, 500-year events are happening, blah blah blah, global warming. I don't know. I don't have a degree. I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever.
Exactly. That's how it is. But
get out there and chase. Whatever.
Exactly. So speaking of, I just forgot my question. All right. Sorry. Anyways, we're good.
Darn.
I just had. I was in the middle of speaking it, and then I just massive brain fart. But I don't know if Oh, okay. Actually, no. Here we go. So, do you have any? I know this is interesting. Do you have any like funny or interesting stories that happened? This like doesn't just, it could just be like interesting stories that happened on like one of your own chases. Like I don't know, like like maybe where you got stuck or something weird happened that you were like unexpected to happen. Like, do you have any like weird or like cool stories like that by chance?
Oh, so many. We get stuck in the mud a lot because of bad navigation or just bold navigational decisions can turn a chase from boring to like being in the shit that nobody's in. It's like bold navigational decisions will either separate the men from the boys or make you look like the biggest idiot on the planet. And I've had both where like May 22nd, 2010, we were gonna cut across, and this was in the Texas Panhandle and down by Clarendon in the canyons. And I thought, hey, this road goes straight to the storm, and we can just go due west, get there 20 minutes before everyone else because they're all going to take this highway and have to wait for it. And
Exactly.
we ended up in some mud, and we saw a couple tornadoes from like 20 miles away, and everyone else was like 7 feet from them, and it ruined the whole day, ruined the year really. But there have been times where you take these bad roads and you get into some weird situations, and we've been pulled out of the mud by drunk farmers, or like Amish people in like carriages and horse and buggy, and
Dang. Okay.
really weird stuff in northern Kansas. Don't get stuck in the mud out there in the middle of the night. It's the Amish are weird in the daylight, but man, at nighttime. I got accused of stealing people's saddles. We were taking lightning pictures, and the sheriff pulls up and said, "Hey, we just got a call that you guys are out here like breaking into barns and stealing saddles." And I'm like, "There's a storm, like with constant lightning right here. I've got a camera on a tripod. My truck says Storm Chase TV on it. I've got a shirt on it that says like Channel 8 Storm Team." I'm just like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, it's pretty obvious what we're doing here, but you can check the truck. We have no saddles. No saddles here.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Else? Just you guys, you've chased, so there are people who you always got people coming up and saying, "What are you guys doing out here? What is this? What are you guys, storm chasers? What is that?" And people are weird. The problem, storms happen in a lot of weird places full of weird people. So everyone's got stuff like that happens. Just just keep your head on a swivel out there in the middle of the night. Some weird stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
Won't go into more detail than that, but there are some weirdos out there, man. Woo. A lot of them are chasers, though, too. So good luck staying away from them.
True. I can't believe they accuse you of stealing saddles.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I find that so funny. I don't know why.
What the hell is a saddle?
I don't know why.
You mean like to put on a horse? People still do that? People still ride horses?
Yeah. Even though like majority of the Amish have like some sort of car or something nowadays,
Intercept on horse.
Intercepting on a horse.
Franklin.
Is that what chasers did in like the 1800s? Like they wanted to get
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin chasing. Oh my.
You never think about a hailstone to take down your entire vehicle, then you're done.
That is true. Like that would be hard. Like you better not be caught.
Yeah, don't those random hailstones.
Yeah, like trying to like slice that not be fun. Slice the hailcore, that would not be fun. Like you would like your carriage would your carriage would be destroyed, and then your horse, what's happened to your horse.
Imagine how fast a horse though would run in a hailcore. Like,
ooh.
You want to see some real speed?
That is true.
Never seen a horse run that fast.
True. Oh my!
You don't need a car when you have a horse.
If you attach 4 horses, like 5 horses to a carriage, is that still 1 horsepower or 5 horsepower? This went from talking about stories to questions about horsepower. I'm sorry, I went off track.
It's fine. It's a great question. It's a great question. One of the best questions I've ever been asked, honestly. And I don't know the answer. I don't know.
That is true.
I'm not a car guy or a horse guy.
Oh my! All right, so I'm out of questions now. I don't know
I think I got one
to ask. All right, yes,
who is your favorite chase partner?
Come on, man!
Don't do it like that. Don't do it like that. Come on, Andrew. Don't do it like that.
I'll surprise you. I love chasing solo, just because you don't have any outside influences. Connor.
That is true.
I've chased with a lot of the best storm chasers in the world. That's not a brag. It's not a humble brag. I just happen, Reed's one of my best friends. Connor's one of my best friends. Andy Gabrielson was one of my best friends. Dick McGowan. These guys are all, some of the best tornado chasers in the world. But I prefer to go alone, just because, whenever you chase with a bunch of the best chasers in the world, you get imposter syndrome times 1,000. It's crazy to be chasing with these guys and be like, man, am I really good at storm chasing, or is Connor the reason I've seen tornadoes? But I don't remember how to see tornadoes because I've been chasing with these guys for so long. So chasing alone, it's kind of a selfish thing. But chasing solo, just kind of remind myself that I still know how to do this, even though a lot of the tornadoes I've seen I probably owe to someone else. So whatever. It's nice to hop off the coattails and do it by myself and just keep the outside influences at bay. But then we all end up in the same spot anyways, and it's a nice little confidence boost to pull up next to a tornado, next to in the inflow jet of the Elk City tornado with Connor McCrory and his girlfriend screaming out the window, and it's cool. I like it. I like chasing solo. It's fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to because like chasing solo, like I don't mind chasing people, but it's more quiet. It's easier for me because I can focus more. Like I don't mind having someone there to talk with, but it's just like for me myself, it's easier to like focus on like I'm not getting wrapped up in like who knows what at that point.
Yeah,
I
it all comes back to focusing on yourself in the storm and keeping the outside influences.
Exactly.
You don't want to. Man, I'm such a grumpy old man. Get off my lawn. But really, it's storm chasing is kind of it's like a spiritual experience. Really, it's like you versus the sky. It's crazy that that we can forecast. I can say 3 days from now I'm going to be in Northwest Oklahoma under a cloud that's spinning, and you go there and you do it, and it's you versus the sky. It's really one of my favorite feelings, and you lose that when you're with other people, and I guess you don't have to lose it when you're with other people if they feel the same way. But it feels that way when you're by yourself. More of a spiritual man versus nature, cat and mouse game. Kind of you're trying to outsmart the sky, and it's showing you that it knows everything and you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Sky do what the sky do.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're coming up on roughly the 45-minute mark. We still have a few more questions to go, a little bit to go. So I mean, I don't point. Kind of covered all bases. So what? Oh, okay. I would know it. What's been your favorite Dominator car so far?
Dominator car. So a lot of people don't know that I was driving Dominator 1 and Dominator 2 like as personal vehicles at one point because I had some really bad broke down Subarus. I've blown up more Subarus than most chasers, like the chasing community combined. I think I'm at like 4 Subaru motors that I've shit canned.
Damn.
But check your oil. Everything will be fine. Just be smart. I'm not smart. Nothing's a problem until it's a problem for me. I'm just like, just block it out. Keep driving. But so Dominator 1 I drove as a personal vehicle to work back and forth for months. Dominator 2 I ended up driving that one just because they didn't have room at the house, and the HOA was like, get these ugly things out of here. Man, that's tough. Dominator 3 is nice because it's a new car with a bunch of like nice features like air conditioning and a radio. It doesn't smell like the underside of a ball sack. But like as far as tornado-proof vehicles go, Dominator 2 is it, man. It's when all the functionality is there, if the hydraulics are working and the spikes are working, it's like I would drive this thing into almost any tornado, and it's incredible. But really, like I said earlier in the chat room, like I enjoy hail cores in the Dominators more than tornadoes, just because it's like you're so used to running and hiding from these things, but you can just park and listen to the hailstones bounce off bulletproof glass. It is so loud. You can just feel it. You can just feel it inside of you, just like the concussion of these giant hailstones. It's really cool. It's a cool experience that most people don't get. So Dominator 2 is the answer. In a roundabout way, Dominator 2 is the answer. I miss it. I miss those cars, man. They were cool, but they're whenever you weld thousands of pounds to a Chevy Tahoe, they don't last forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Dominator 2's problem was that it overheated enough over and over again because people like me were driving it and not paying attention. So Dominator 1 I think is still in really good shape if the hydraulics and whatnot were fixed up. I think it'd still be road ready. It's got like 220 something thousand miles on it, and the Line X is peeling off of it. It's ugly as hell, but like underneath it's still it's the Chevy Tahoe is just it's kicking ass. It's a really good vehicle. Still is. It just needs some love. It needs a lot of money and some love.
Yeah.
They are expensive.
All right. We'll do a few more questions, and I think we'll go because we got some things going on. And
no, man, let's talk all day. I'll talk storms all day. Let's go.
I would love to too.
Let's
I
make
would
it a
love to as
marathon.
well. I would
Same.
exactly right. I don't know. Maybe
I would.
like we said we could do later on.
I have a question.
Yes, Dallas.
What is the farthest away from home that you've chased?
Man, I'm gonna have to look at a map. Canada. I love chasing in Canada because there's only shit. Now everybody up there chases. I don't know. It's been so long since I've been up there. They probably got more chasers than we do now. Jesus. Saskatchewan. I love chasing in western Saskatchewan because it's a lot like Kansas and Colorado, but there are a lot less roads. There's no data. It's like the old days of storm chasing where there was no one out there. If you see another chaser, it's a miracle. If you have a road in the direction you want, it's a miracle. It's a harder, more challenging type of chasing, and it's a long ways away from home. Jesus Christ, like 25, 26 hours to get up there, and we've done it a few times. It's been a while since we've done that, but it's very rewarding to be that far away chasing tornadoes and in the middle of nowhere. You have no idea where you're at. Never been here before. It's a different type of storm chasing, but still enjoyable. I think that's the farthest away. 20. Well, I mean, so being on Long Island for this last little tropical storm, if that's what you want to call it, tropical depression. It wasn't a tropical depression, but it was depressing. Henry. That's probably the farthest away from home. It's probably about the same, right? I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
I don't have access to that.
You're fine. I mean, it's honestly, if you were to pinpoint out, it's probably roughly the same because from I'd say Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean that's
pretty close.
Yeah, it's roughly the same if you put it together on a map. So, but yeah, Henry was this one.
I got a question actually.
Yes.
What's your favorite tropical system you have chased?
Ooh.
Man. Well, it sucks because like I'm real big about enjoying experiences as long as they aren't hurting. I mean, storms are going to do what they do whether we're there to enjoy it or not, right? But like Harvey, it's hard for me to say Harvey because it did so much damage. But really, the wind part of Harvey is what I mean. The flooding afterwards, that was kind of like an after effect. That doesn't even really register in my mind as being Hurricane Harvey. It was like the remnants of Harvey that did that. But Harvey was a good chase, just because of when we set out to go down there, we didn't think it was going to do that. The rapid intensification the last few hours as it approached really blew our minds. I was like, yeah, this might be, maybe it'll sneak into Category 3 territory. And then, we get to the hotel, we check in. We're the first people at this hotel, and then it ended up being like ground zero with pretty much all the footage you saw from Harvey in Rockport was shot at this hotel. And so, we're the first people there, and then it explodes, and it ends up being, that type of experience. It was just, and it was my first strong hurricane. So I guess I hold it in high regards for that aspect as well. But like, the first time you hear 140 mile an hour winds, it's just like, there's no explaining it. And, I will chase every tropical system from this point on. That will be the benchmark for what I want to experience. Just like being in a hotel or a parking garage and just like peeking around the corner, just shit getting absolutely shredded just right next to you. It's crazy. You can't explain it. Some of you have chased it. You know what it's like. And it's, you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to relive that moment. And that's really what storm chasing is all about. So Harvey, Laura was kind of the same way, but, it wasn't as intense. It was probably down by the coast, but we were up in Lake Charles and, we didn't have that type. We were in a parking garage, so it was cool. It was safe. And, we got down and walked around in it, but it wasn't quite as intense as, so for Harvey, we were at this hotel and one of the walls of the hotel was parallel to the flow. and there was a door that opened in a direction where I could hold the door open with my foot and peek out into the shit that's happening and not be in danger, or at least I thought I wasn't in danger, because the door was blocked. This big heavy metal door. I've got my foot down, steel toe boots. Like, this is the best way to experience 140-mile-an-hour winds, right? But
Yeah.
I didn't know that the wall above me was deteriorating, and like that part of the wall actually, collapsed in the first half of the hurricane. And we came out in the eye, and it was just like, oh shit, that's what was happening above me. I could hear that stuff happening, but I was just standing there with my head out the door like an idiot, like, whoa, this is crazy. And,
Yeah.
but you survive, and you do it again some other time. But that's a really long-winded
For
question
sure.
for such an an easy question to answer. But Harvey, there's the answer. Boom. You can cut all the other stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Harvey was the
You're
answer.
fine. Mm-hmm. Harvey was. Oh, well, okay. There's a decent difference between both Harvey and, well, the reason why there's kind of distinct difference between both is because as they're while Harvey's making landfall, it was easier for the wind to mix down because of I won't get into specifics of it, but I mean, granted, wow, Laura had 55-mile-an-hour winds. The winds had mixed down, but it was more kind of a gust thing. It's whole. And I won't get into it, but you know what I mean. But yeah.
Yeah, well,
But,
exactly. So the
for sure
Harvey,
was-
the winds were more sustained at that level. You got those
Exactly.
gusts in Laura, but they were really spotty, pretty sporadic. And the
Yep.
same with Ida, where we got those wind gusts, but they were very short-lived. And
Yep,
Harvey
for
was, holding a door open
Yeah.
against sustained 135, 140-mile-an-hour wind. It
Mhm.
is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, my butt puckered just talking about it. That's just like, whoop,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
go back and live that moment again forever.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're caught up on the hour mark, so if you has any questions, I think I'd love to keep on going for hours on end, but we all have I guess stuff to do. So
I guess.
Yeah.
if any other questions for anyone else,
I'm out,
Nope.
to
I
be
think
honest.
I am.
I guess.
Yeah, I have to hosting the debate pretty soon, so I have to get that done.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for coming on. It was awesome having you
Thanks
on.
for having me. Thank you so much.
It was. That was probably one of the best podcast episodes we've done in a while. It's pretty. I hope we get to have you on again in the future. It was awesome to have you on. I hope you have a great rest of your day and your Labor Day as well. And hope to have you on again. So thank you so much.
I love you. Bye.
Have a good one, Mike.
Oh, wait, we were on video the whole time?